Okay, so welcome back to Into the Infinityverse, where I talk about the fanfiction shared universe that me and my friend Jason Voorhees 2011 do, and these just talk about certain aspects and give you a little behind the scenes about them, and just talk about that on a whole. So anyway, let's talk about one thing that I've been kind of meaning to really touch on, and we've really kind of introduced recently. And that is Hell's Gate Prison. Now, Hell's Gate Prison actually was first conceptualized in New Frontier, which was the starting point for the fanfiction universe. And it's basically a black site prison for supervillains. It was created by Dr. Betty Director, who is the head of Global Justice Network, which is our shield, and is also, however, the location of it is actually, you may be thinking, well, it's got to be somewhere on Earth, right? Wrong. It's actually not on Earth at all. It is actually, believe it or not, it's actually in Dimension X. You see, Dr. Director actually got help building this and actually getting permission to build it in Dimension X from the Utrom tribe. If you guys don't know, we actually, for this continuity, we use the 2012 Turtles as this universe's TMNT. So, in this story, yeah, Bishop and the Utrom tribe are living peacefully in their part of Dimension X, while the Krang are basically out licking their wounds and all that, and, not being much of a threat as they were. But the Utrom tribe have their own little slice of Dimension X that Dr. Director is like, hey, we want to build a prison here, build a prison where there's no chance of, even if they do break out of this prison, they will not, there's nowhere to go. There's just nowhere to go. Even if they do break out, they can't find their way back to Earth. And at first, Bishop is like, yeah, they'll just wander around Dimension X and start killing Utrom, my people. But eventually he does come around, and Hell's Gate Prison is not only built, but the Utrom are actually the guards of the prison. And Bishop himself is the warden. He is the warden of the prison. Now, the prison itself doesn't have, at the moment, a lot of prisoners per se. It doesn't have a lot of prisoners at its core. So, what it is, however, what it is a holding facility made from both human and Utrom tech that can hold even the toughest supervillains. And it actually did make a full appearance in the spotlight for Brightburn. You see, there is a part of the prison called Cell Block X, and Cell Block X is meant to hold Omega-class villains, such as villains with godlike abilities, or they're just super intelligent, or there are different classes of villains, and Omega-class villains are the big, don't let these guys out, they are the most dangerous of the group, They're either the most powerful, or the most cunning, or they're the most intelligent. And the prison itself kind of caters to the weaknesses of each villain. Like each of the Omega class villains have prison cells made to either weaken or built on the weaknesses. So when Brandon Briars, aka Brightburn, he goes by the name Brightburn in our universe. When he was captured, his prison cell was made from his ship, from the parts of his ship that actually, as we find out in the movie, it can hurt him. So his prison cell was made in there. So far, Brightburn is the only villain locked up in Cell Block X. But that's the thing, is that there's gonna be more. Trust me, there are gonna be more villains locked up in that part of that neck of the woods. As for the other cells that are holding prisoners, they are more or less like your basic energy-based cells, and they do confiscate any kind of weapons or gear or whatever, and if they are meta-human, do have to wear collars that make them, human, that suppresses their meta-gene or their just superpowers in general. There are several villains already locked up in Hell's Gate Prison, and the big thing with Hell's Gate Prison is that nobody the only people who know about it are the top members of GJN and the Utrom. That's it. The Infinity League don't know about this prison because it's more or less a black site on the highest level. It is a major black site, and at that black site, there's no human law, for these people. You're not on Earth anymore, so, basic rights don't apply to you, if you get what I'm saying. So, that's the big thing right there, is that this is a prison where if someone from Global Justice wanted some answers, they could go in and just torture a villain to find out what they wanted, So that's a major thing with this series, is that, it's essentially a place where villains are treated badly, but yeah, it's somewhere where no one wants to be. It's somewhere where no one wants to be, and there are also several slashers locked up. I forgot to mention that we do reveal that several slashers were locked up, like Hannibal Lecter. Leatherface was locked up there. A lot of villains were captured and locked up inside. A lot of the slashers were among a lot of the major slashers you can think of, save for a few, were locked up at this prison and among the first inmates. So the big question is, is the League gonna find out about this place? I don't want to say right out the gate. I really don't want to say if they do or not. But okay, yeah, they will, but it will be for a while, because right now, Dr. Director and everyone else are trying to keep Hell's Gate Prison off the books as much as they can, because, yeah, this is some really illegal shit they're doing to these villains in there. And trust me, when you get locked up in Hell's Gate, you ain't getting out. Unless, of course, something goes wrong, which we all know that it will. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much all I had to say about Hell's Gate Prison. Hope you all enjoyed this, as always. Jason and I are really having just a ton of fun writing the Infinityverse and putting all the little pieces together. It's been nothing but fun, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the Infinityverse fanfictions. We know we're kind of slow, but hey, we have our own lives, so sorry about that. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.